Okay, so my voice is kind of dying a little bit, so hopefully you can hear this, and hopefully it doesn't die during this. Okay, so I want to start with the second video, actually, about the greatest injustice. Just what an insight she has, and I really loved how she pulled, like, a bunch of different countries and specific examples. It really helped get understanding. So gender inequity, is what she said that our nation's, or our world's greatest injustices, which is interesting because growing up here as a girl in the United States, like, you don't even really realize that gender inequality is still out there. Like, we just kind of assume that we're all treated equal, and you never really realize that just because it's a certain way that you have doesn't mean it's not different in different parts of the world. And I've never been to, like, a different country before, so it's hard for me to really see that. So her examples really helped. I can't imagine growing up in a small hut with no electricity, or being pulled out of school at 13 because I was a girl and my parents didn't think I was really going to do anything with my life anyway. Like, I can't even fathom that, because here we're pushed so much to stay in school in a good way, because people want us to do things with our lives, and they're going to help however they can to make sure that we accomplish that. And it's just completely, like, night and day difference from other parts of the world. Dai Manju, the first girl that she talked about, ended up changing her entire family's dynamic, and even helped out in the community, kind of like a pay it forward kind of thing. She was able to receive this education, and she got a job and a scholarship and all these wonderful things, and then she was able to help her family, and they were able to have a house with electricity and without a pig, and help look for jobs for her friends in her community, and really just because of this one girl, and then just because she was able to gain an education, she was able to help many others gain an education, and really to put that education to use too. What else? The part when she was talking about the basket, so she was like, here's this basket, and only like 2% of our funds go here. Like, I can't remember what the basket was, like education perhaps. And then she was like, and then we have this other basket, and 20% goes into this basket, and this basket being drugs and alcohol and sugar drinks and other things that aren't unnecessary. She said, if we just, not even to get rid of the basket entirely, because that is almost not realistic, but to just take 4% of this basket and put it into that basket, so you'd have 16%, 6%. She's like, that would change drastically. It would have an overall, like, large effect on their lives, just by taking 4%. So it's really like a lot of the times it's not necessarily their fault, but there are things that they could do to help themselves, but I think it's because they don't know. They don't realize how important education is. Saima, though, she realized how important education was, and because she went through that, and because she understood that, she was then able to put, like, her children, she knew how important it was that her 3 girls were educated, so that they could get jobs, and they could continue, and then their children could go to school. Like, she saw that cycle of education, how it worked. And I think it was Simon that said this, but she said, I don't know if it was Simon or not, or it might have been Beatrice, if that's one of them. She said, I'm the luckiest girl alive because of the goat. And that is just, it, like, sounds kind of ridiculous, but really that goat changed her entire life. And with that, you can have a similar situation like Saima, where you can affect people that come after you. And it's just amazing that goat, which I don't remember how much she said costs, like $150 or something, which is, like, not that big of a deal. To me, as, like, a college student, like, that's a lot of money, but, like, if that could affect my whole life and the people to come after me, like, obviously I would do it in a heartbeat. It's just like crazy how that one little thing affected so much. The other video, the washing machine, first I thought it was kind of silly because he's like, oh, the magic washing machine. And I was like, okay. I've never been without a washing machine, so it's just something I guess I take for granted. But it's also crazy to me that people, this video is really dark, sorry. People still heat up water with firewood and wash by hand, and it takes hours and hours and hours. People who live below the poverty line, and even under the wash line, I guess, because if they don't have washers, then they have no other choice, but that's how they have to do it. So, like, I forget the exact amount of people, but I guess it's probably like half the people, if not more, are living without washing machines, which is just crazy to think about because I can't name one person without a washing machine. And what else? I thought it was interesting that they said not everyone in the world can have cars and washing machines, which is true. I mean, like, not everyone can afford that, and, like, I guess it's understandable, but it's just crazy to think about because, I mean, my family, there are 4 of us, well, that live at home, and we have 3 cars, and even when it's just my parents at home, like, they still have all 3 cars, and a washing machine, and a dryer, and everything that people in other parts of the world don't have. I mean, we have a car that literally sits there majority of the year because my brother and I are at school and we don't have it with us, and it's just sitting there because no one needs to use it. It's just there for when we're home, but just like we have that, and people in other parts of the world have pretty much nothing. He talked about, oh, I really loved this, when he pulled the books out of the washing machine. I was like really surprised and kind of confused at what he was doing, but it makes so much sense, because of technology, not just the washing machine, but all technology really, like that makes us much more efficient, which in turn gives us more time to do other things. So, like, being able to read to your children, like, doesn't really sound like a big deal, but that's a huge deal. Like, reading to your kids has such an impact on them and their future at such a young age. Just as an example, reading for yourself, like, that will expand your knowledge, expand your mind, help you grow, keep your mind healthier longer, and all these, like, things that will help long term, like, just because of this machine that is washing my clothes for me. Like, it's just, and it's sad that not everyone in the world can have one, because we would be such a more efficient world if everyone could do that, and we would all be able to, like, come towards the same level, like we talked about the first half of the semester, moving towards globalization. We'd all be a lot closer. So yeah, I thought those videos were very interesting. Oh, and I also loved how he said thank you industrialization, because it's just something that's kind of happening. I mean, we're doing it, but it's kind of happening naturally, and because of that, like, we can gain so much.